Ew, yeah, making a video. Yeah, it's kind of wet and crappy. Yeah, I feel like crap. So anyway, yeah, that's my usual anyway, my usual editorializing. I really have to stop doing all that crap anyway. And so, I don't know what I was supposed to say, but and so we'll have to go. I'll go with that. And so, anyway, yeah, no, that doesn't work either. Damn. Suggestions for a replacement for anyway would be appreciated. To getting to the point, I was thinking about the words, the concept of advertising, and how it's controlling our culture and in controlling the economy and controlling everything, and it's just such a not a good plan. So in the context of the capitalist model, you know, the defenders of the capitalist system, you know, this is something they sort of have to account for, is the degrade created by advertising. You know, it kind of just degrades the whole system of life on Earth. You know, it's just basically deception, manipulation, chicanery of all different manner. Hugely expensive. Cost of doing business. You know, even we had the internet that was capable of creating a nice direct line between production and consumption and taking all these middlemen out, and somehow the capitalists decided, no, we want more chances to pull more dollars out of the dollars, more value out, so we'll make everybody go through all these different middlemen. So, you know, totally unproductive. So anyway, yeah, damn, I'm having a bad day, so yeah, it's so acceptable to backslide a little. So the point I want to get to is that you know, what is the nature of advertising? Is that it's a vehicle, it's a mechanism that has diminishing returns on different populations. So some people are clearly more susceptible to manipulation by advertisers than other people, one could say. And that those people, generally as a class, might fit into some sort of you know, label category of whatever, jerk. You know, not very intelligent tastes, let's say, unintelligent tastes. You know, the sports nuts, the glamour nuts, the what's the celebrities doing today nuts, all those kind of, you know, losers are the ones most vulnerable to advertising as a mechanism to have any value. I mean, you know, you could say there's some people who are quite hostile to advertising and maybe even find it's arrogant and obnoxious for companies to lie to them, you know, to their face, and to try to manipulate them, and they find it obnoxious and irritating and actually end up being affected by advertisements. And so obviously companies have to write off these people. These aren't the customers that will pay the bills, in the sense that they aren't the people who will finance content in the world. So when you have a world financed by advertising, when you have like the whole internet has been sold out to you know, pop culture, top 40 culture, in the sense that nothing gets financed if it doesn't have the capacity to produce an audience that will click on ads and find ads something other than obnoxious and irritating. So those people will not be served. So anyway, I've made this point many times in videos, so people, some of you, most of you, maybe all of you, have already heard me make this complaint. But this is why cable TV turned into garbage, is because they backslid into an advertising model, and all the different channels, that wanted to, just basically saying, oh, we want both. We not only want to pay you to pay a fee to have our channel, we're going to put advertised content on. The people who aren't paying the advertisers aren't going to be served by the content. So things like the Learning Channel or Art and Entertainment or all the sophisticated stuff didn't get financed anymore. They found out that they have to sell candy on their channels to make money. Because, advertising just doesn't work on people who have, more sophisticated, let's say, sensibilities. They're just not going to be compelled by 15 or 30 seconds of propaganda. And they're going to know it's propaganda. That's the intent of it. And so this is just totally, there's no way out of this, in the sense there's no silver lining. There's nothing good in this model of social investment. So the only thing that'll get invested in by rich people who control all the capital are mechanisms that can guarantee a return from the gullible and the foolish, and I'm going to get wet feet. That's all right. Not very wet. Well, entirely wet, but who cares? Sorry. I just avoid getting my pants wet. Yes, I'll avoid that. Or I might avoid it. Okay. Okay. All right. Yes, only a little bit of water got at me. Where was I? Wet. Oh yes. So, this is kind of profoundly important if you care about civilization. If Rome was financed this way, Rome would have been a pile of shit. Nothing good. You'll develop not the best. You will develop the worst. You will feed the wrong part of your society. You will create, in essence, the most negative of conditioning. You will make the next generation dumber. That's what you'll do if you're going to use this as your model. It's just not the way to run the railroad, if the railroad is something called civilization. If you want a civilization, you're going to have mechanisms that create better than that. And this whole idea of people voluntarily, subsidizing what's good for us, come on. Nobody does stuff unless they have to. They don't wear life jackets, they don't do this, they don't put their seatbelt on. None of this stuff what people do unless they're told they got to do it, and there's rules, and they say, okay, I'll obey the rules. So you have to make this stuff a little bit mandatory. If you tried to, finance the moon landing out of voluntary contributions, you probably wouldn't get the money, because people always figures, let somebody else pay for it. I'll wait and let them do it. That's just our nature as selfish animals. And so when we want better, we have to actually force ourselves to do better. This is part of the concession people have to make to their own kind of evil nature. Kind of admit you have an evil nature. Kind of admit that it's better for the human race that we do something to mitigate against that. That we're basically slobs and pigs. And that we do need rules and obligations that force us to be better than that. And we really should be investing in our society and in our culture. Things like YouTube are a perfect example It was supposed to be a U medium, and now it just became a fake medium of production videos. Again, more manipulation, more, the morons running the world, ads everywhere. If the ads don't work, your audience is useless. So, make the content suitable to the idiots so they'll click ads. And you won't get anything better than that. And regardless of what the real demographics of a country might be, there'll be no reflection of those better demographics in the media financed by advertising. But again, I can just say this shit. I'm quite certain it's a true phenomenon. I'm quite certain that we're socially paying a huge price for our unwillingness to create the incentives for people to do better, create national science prizes that might be worth millions of dollars to encourage kids to care about science. These are just simple things we could be doing, and we don't do them, as we somehow think the capitalists will take care of us. They'll do all the investment we need, and we see what they invest in. Copyrighted life forms. So please, and so but the political reality is, most people have now, idiocracy has kind of won. I have to admit, even, I was a little suspect of my own generation, and the next generation is even more suspect, and it just gets worse and worse. And so there's this political requirement for any kind of movement to gain a certain amount of credible momentum to have any kind of change, and the only movements that have any credible momentum are the anti and complete idiocy movements of anarchy, and some sort of free market capitalism. Make them even freer. Somehow that'll make us even better off. Make the rich even richer. It just shit. But that's what advertising gets you. People stupid enough to buy that kind of crap. Get you a world full of unqualified truther opiners. They don't know shit about anything, and they just talk. Like they heard it on Fox News. It's a statistic. It's all rather dismal. That's all I can say. So it's probably pointless for me to make this argument in this little narrow niche again. But I think it's, in the context of modern mystic talking about this and that, these are the real, at the core of where everything goes wrong with capitalism, is in these little things, these little subtle sellouts that just destroy the character of your people. And we've destroyed our character by thinking that we, the people, we as a group of human beings, can invest in nothing but graft. And somehow, we have to have a what's in it for me answer to every question. And sometimes you do things just because they're the right things to do. And education is one of those things. And edification, the advancement of your citizens, the sensibilities of your citizens, is something worth investing in. Culture, and mechanisms that encourage the best out of people, encourage people to become addicted to being productive citizens and being useful and creating mechanisms that maximize their utility, rather than just playing the pickpocket game. Just smart enough to figure out how to slide change out of a retard's pocket. And that's all we have as a society and a culture. It's a bunch of thieves. Thievery as a motto, as a mantra. So, like I said, just a lament. I gotta do the third party. I gotta create the political movement. I gotta do all this work to get people motivated, and then even contemplating that, the daunting disappointment that it won't be good enough just to make the argument. You're gonna have to polish it just special for these people, because they won't understand any of it. So, I guess that's enough on that subject. I think I'll make another video. I do have to take the longer walk after this walk. Oh, I really don't feel like it today. Oh. But, unfortunately, the days I was having pretty good days, I wasn't making videos. And the day I'm cruddy, I make a video. Anyway. Shit. That's enough. So, I will see you next time. Such.